I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, okay? Take my hand, take it, hold it, grasp it, don't let it go. No one cares about you or your struggles. No one. They don't care, and they never did. It is raining kind of hard right now, so I really hope you guys can't hear this. I apologize if you do. But there's obviously a lot going on right now when it comes to the eradication of DEI, not celebrating a lot of the celebratory months that we used to celebrate, like Black History Month, Pride Month, stuff like that. Target removing like Black-owned business products and putting them on sale. Google removing things like Black History Month from the calendar and stuff like that. Right, there's a lot going on. Now, I'm not going to get political because I'd really prefer not to. I have my own feelings on everything that's going on. I'm not going to get into that right now. But I do want to talk about the aftermath of all of this happening and the surprise and shock that people are showing for these billion-dollar companies who are pulling back on all of these celebrations. What I truly want to ask these people who are so shocked and upset at these things, do you guys or did you guys ever truly think that they genuinely cared about you? It is a genuine question. For all of you who feel betrayed by these companies who are no longer celebrating these, previously celebrated celebrations, did you ever truly feel validated, seen, heard, and all that other stuff with these billion-dollar corporations that celebrated these holidays? Because if you did, that's great. But you do know that they never actually did it because they cared about your struggles, right? Now, I made a video a while ago. It was actually last year at some point. And I was talking about me being tired of all the celebratory months that we have. I did private it because I didn't like the way that I articulated myself and the way that I spoke about certain things. It wouldn't be the first time I did that, like took a video down because I just didn't like the way I approached the subject. Also, I think around that time, like I said, that was last year, kind of like the beginning of my channel career. So I was very heavily influenced by a lot of the people that I watched on YouTube. But even though I didn't like the way that I approached the subject and certain things that I said, I still stand by a lot of what I said. And that I genuinely was kind of fed up with all these celebratory months, not because of what it represented, but because of the way that it was being handled, especially by corporations and businesses. Like, to me, and to a lot of people, it wasn't just me, but for a lot of us, it felt very forced. It felt fake. It felt like, yay, let's put up a Black Lives Matter flag. Let's put up a Pride flag so that you can come in here and spend your money. And clearly, their true colors show that's what it was always about. Again, not shocking. They're businesses, they're corporations. They don't care about your struggles. They care about the money that your struggles bring to the company. They know that with topics like this, with social justice issues, people are going to get very emotionally invested. And emotional investment for a consumer is very important because emotional investment becomes monetary investment. If they get themselves really enraptured in this topic, we can sell things that apply to these topics. That's what it's about. That's always what it's been about. It's never actually been about trying to bring reform and spread awareness. They don't believe that. Let's sell you a Black Lives Matter flag. That'll solve racism. Literally using our struggles as whatever community we belong to as a way to make money. That's all these holidays were ever supposed to be. Obviously, it's just run by capitalism. And as I said before, I'm not trying to completely hate on capitalism. I directly benefit off of capitalism with things like my YouTube. I was talking to a commenter about this, but I'm not very good at economics. Economics is not my thing. So, you can go in the debate on, which economic regime is the best. I don't know. I can't join you in that conversation. These bangs are in my face. I can't see very well. Yeah, I can't join you for that conversation. But I do know that sometimes it goes too far. There was this video that I was watching, and this guy put up a clip of this guy on TikTok who was talking about the behind the scenes of what goes on when it comes to all these holidays and celebratory months. He did say a couple numbers too and stuff and statistics of when consumerism reaches underneath a certain point, then we're in a recession or something like that. I didn't fact check him, so I don't know 100% if that's true or not. But he pointed out that every single month has some form of celebration or important time that obviously urges people to go buy stuff and spend money.
Every 30 to 60 days in the U.S. economy, in order for us to not go into a recession, there has to be at least 70% consumption. If it drops below 70% consumption, we go into a recession. Mm-hmm. So how does the U.S. economy make sure that they are sparking consumption? There is a lead, launch, and sales process. Well, January, top of the year, people are traveling. So they are capitalizing on travel, et cetera. Top of the year, New Year's Eve, New Year's. Mm-hmm. February, you have Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. March, you're going to have some made up thing on the calendar in March. So normally it's some traditional holiday, whether it's a President's Day or whether it's a St. Patty's or all these, right? You're normally around April time is where you get Easter. Mm-hmm. Right after that, you go into May where you're gonna get Memorial Day. Right after that, you're gonna go into June where you're gonna have Juneteenth and several other like local holidays. You're gonna have 4th of July in July. In August, you got back to school. In September, you're gonna have Labor Day. In October, you got Halloween. In November, you got Thanksgiving. In December, you got Christmas.
And of course, I'm not telling people to stop celebrating certain holidays, but as someone myself and just my family who we've never been really like super celebratory to begin with, it really does make you sit back and think as to how many celebrations and holidays that we have, especially ones that just pop up like every year that I don't remember being there before. It's like, where did this come from? I know the big ones, you know, I know Christmas, I know Thanksgiving, I know Halloween. What is this? Like, why every time you turn around, there's a new day we got to be celebrating? And here's the thing, right? For some people, I understand that there's this feeling of betrayal. You supported us all this time, and now that it's, you know, not a requirement, you don't do it anymore. But I think for a lot of people as well, a lot of the anger comes from the movements and the unity that it created for these months and these corporations and businesses helping push those ideas. Like with, say, Black History Month. I mean, of course, you know, we all know it exists and celebrate it, but having the businesses and corporations and everybody like that participate, it helps to bring unity. It helps to bring everybody to the store to go, you know, celebrate this time of the month. I completely understand that. I understand that frustration, feeling like these problems won't get as much attention if these big corporations don't, you know, participate. But the thing is, do remember, we don't need these businesses and corporations and everybody else to help push Black history or to learn about our history. We never needed them to do that. We don't need Target to sell us some cheap polyester plastic feeling shirts with BLM on the front and yep, there you go, we're doing our part to spread awareness. We don't need them to do that. We can still create these movements ourselves. We can still educate ourselves. In that video, the video that I privated, one of the things that I was saying is just I feel like the history section and a lot of these celebratory months are missing. We're forgetting originally what they were meant to be, what they truly represent, and why we ended up talking about this in the first place. Do you know how many Black inventors, Black artists, and just so many other Black people in the past who had never gotten their recognition, never gotten the credit for the things that they'd done because, I mean, of course, you know, racism was heavy at the time. We weren't allowed to get any of our credit. My dad, when we were younger, and I used to get annoyed at this, but now that I'm older, I appreciate it a little bit more. He used to make us search up a Black person, somebody lost in time, lost in history that nobody knew about, but they contributed so much to society and didn't get their credit. Not the people that we all know, of course, like, you know, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, stuff like that. They're great, but he wanted us to find underrated Black creators, Black people who contributed to society and make a little PowerPoint presentation on it and give it to him. Like I said, it was annoying before because it was like extra schoolwork I didn't want to do, but that really was helpful in learning about so many different Black people who have never gotten their credit. Watching classic Black slavery movies like Roots or Shaka Zulu or 21 Years a Slave or something like that. If you grew up in a Black household, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you've watched this 3 million times before. Again, same thing. I used to get so annoyed. I was like, do we really have to watch this again? But like, there is a certain importance in that we continue to not perpetuate like a victim mentality or anything like that. That's not what we want, but just so we can remember, right? It's like history will repeat itself if we forget it. That's why history and learning history is so important. It's just so that we remember the events that happened before that led us to where we are now. We can do that on our own. We don't need businesses and corporations to do that for us. We just relied on them so heavily, especially when it comes to the capitalistic part of it, that now we feel like, you know, what they're just withdrawing and pulling back from all of the support that they used to give us. And it's like, well, it was never genuine support anyway. And I think this capitalistic obsession and idea has blinded us from that original purpose. Sometimes you would even get performative, you know, people running to go get BLM shirts. Look, I support Black Lives Matter. I support this. I support that. It got to the point where it was just like, you wear it or you slap it on or you have it or whatever. And that's it. You're just a good person now. Every single month, we got to go run to the store to go get our BLM shirts, to go get our pride shirts, to go get our feminist shirts, to go get all this stuff so that people can know that, yeah, we're good people. We support these movements. When's the last time you've actually done some research on, you know, these specific movements in general, though? We rely on Google to tell us, hey, this is the first person to do this. But we could technically go research that ourselves. We could talk about it ourselves. We could bring it to light ourselves. We don't need Google to do that for us. We don't need Walmart to sell us merch that they we don't even care to make. Again, it's all cheap plastic clothing anyway. We don't need them, and we never needed them in the first place. And that goes for a lot of holidays in general too. Like I said, I'm not saying it's bad to buy stuff. I love buying stuff, especially for other people. Gift giving is one of my biggest love languages. Buying gifts and making them, preferably. I prefer to make a gift and give it to somebody. It feels better that way. But gift giving is great. You know, we do it for things like Christmas, of course. We do it for birthdays. We do it for Valentine's Day and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. But with these things, again, like a lot of times we can get very lost in the capitalistic mindset of it to forget what these are actually supposed to be about, what these holidays were meant to be. It's cold outside. Gosh, it's cold. Sometimes we forget at the end of the day that it was never supposed to be about the stuff that we bought. It was supposed to be the things that we learned, the things that we remembered, all the events that happened that let us remember these things in the first place. Cindy Lou Who, she told us all along. She predicted this already. So where are you, Christmas? Yeah, that song. So where are you, Christmas? That could be applied to literally every holiday because sometimes we get lost in the sauce. We forget. So now that we can't go running to the store for a black, Lives Matter shirt, it gets a lot of people riled up. Well, you know what? I'm going to say something a little controversial. I'm glad they're gone.
I'm glad he took our presents.
I'm glad that Google isn't putting random holidays on the calendar anymore. I'm glad that Target wants to sell off all of its black-owned products. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me, though. I'm going to be honest. Like, I understand the whole DEI thing. I understand what that means and, getting rid of it, sure. But what does that have to do with, like, black-owned products? Are you implying that they only got there because of DEI? Because if that's the case, we need to have a conversation. That's a whole different conversation we need to talk about. But like, I don't understand what's the point of getting rid of or trying to get rid of all the black owned products. Like, we don't need sure, you don't want to celebrate Black History Month. Okay, that's fine. But why are you trying to get rid of the products themselves? What does that have to do with anything? Again, I don't know. I didn't read up enough about this, so maybe there's something I'm missing. But yeah, no, like I'm glad. I personally don't care. Like my mom came to me and told me, it was like, did you see what happened? Did you see what happened? Like I said, I wasn't really surprised. I wasn't surprised at all. I wasn't shocked, and I really wasn't upset. Like I said, I'm not a huge celebratory person in the first place. So it was never really like a huge deal for me. Like I'm not celebrating Valentine's Day. We don't celebrate Halloween. We don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And as far as like the social justice issue months go, I never really did anything super extravagant for that anyway. It doesn't really affect me all that much. That I understand that there's a lot of people who it does affect them, and it seriously did get to them that this happened. But like I said, you don't need the corporations to do this for you. You don't need Google. You don't need Target. You don't need all these places that are pulling out and being like, oh, finally. Oh, thank God. We don't have to worry about celebrating it. Yeah, just burn it all. Burn it all. It's cheap anyway. We'll just make some more cheap stuff. It's fine. And we don't need them. It's fine to buy things, of course. If you still want to have like a, I don't know, Black History Month party or something like that, sure, go off. Make your own Black Lives Matter shirt or something. But we don't need to rely on the corporations to make movements for us. Or we don't need to rely on the government or Google or whatever to give us celebratory months. I'll celebrate Black History Month in November if I want to. Who cares? I don't need the calendar to tell me what to do. So yeah, I want this to be like a bit of a wake-up call for, again, a lot of people who are upset about this whole entire endeavor. Politics aside, I think this does just show the true colors of businesses, what they always were. They were just hiding behind rainbow flags and white fists with black backgrounds. They don't actually care. They never did. They never will. At the end of the day, they do what's in the best interest of themselves. If that's appealing to a certain political party, or if that's appealing to a certain group of people, they're going to do it. They have no grounds to stand on. They have no morals. Their moral is money. That's it. So it's not a good idea to rely on them in order to help bring movements and bring awareness. We can do that ourselves. So please don't feel discouraged or shocked or surprised that this is happening. Just take it for what it is. Take it as a matter of fact that they never really cared about your issues anyway. And when you recognize that, you can then stand on your own 2 feet, make your own movements, do whatever it is you want to do, make your own celebratory months or whatever, without feeling like you need Google to mandate it to everybody or something like that. Just do it yourself. And that's all I wanted to talk about this week. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.